they'll lynch you. But he did, and he laughs at
Hi everybody, Russ and the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well. Safe and well. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Bit of a different atmosphere from maybe even like Saturday, like 5 to 3 maybe. But hey ho, we're West Ham fans. Over half of you watching aren't subscribers. So if you could subscribe, that would be lovely. Really appreciate it. Also, thank you for all your comments. I know you don't, don't agree with me or agree with me, whatever. It's my opinion, it's your opinion, we're all valid, and I appreciate you taking the time out, even if it's to slag me off. I do appreciate it, because you're taking time out of your day to do that, and you've probably got a lot more important things to do today. Let's see what we've got in the chats. Let's see what we've got here. Loads of people already. I'm looking forward to all the Messiah disciples rolling out the excuses, saying Ralph. And actually, I'm going to call someone out, because someone said to me, "Oh, your narrative's changed, and you're saying that you support whoever's in the dugout." I've always said that. That's one thing I've never changed. After these things, pointless ratings, and no morale under Moyes. We can't score and always concede. Fornals was playing two positions, as was Agerd. He had to cover, totally agree. Absolutely fuming was offered Julian Alvarez. He turned it down because he had Antonio at last January transfer window. Very true, but we knew that. That's what I mean. It's no news. It's just maybe because it's come out with Stephen Bartlett's podcast. But we knew that. That's what's been. We reported that back in January that he was offered to us and we didn't go with him. So it was a gutting. So I loved Alvarez and I thought he's a fantastic player. He's going to be the next generational star after the Mbappe Haalands. He's one of the next group. Maybe him and Nunez, for example. Again, a player that we were looking at. Don't think Moyes is the only person to blame. He picks the formation style, but once it's down to the players, Moyes don't go out and say, look, same as any manager who's not performing, say, look, don't win today, but as you said, it's about motivation, it's about formation, it's about tactics. But these guys are professional football players as well, so they don't, and the players it's never the players that are issued, that it's always the manager. And yeah, I mean, we will do the ratings because we do them every day, every game, and win, lose or draw, mainly losing at the moment. We do it. If players can't motivate themselves, they shouldn't be playing. Totally agree. Moyes don't care. The only ones who are the fans, as always, we certainly do. Doesn't matter, come or go, we're still here. It starts at the top from the board down to the players. It's a YouTube video of David Moyes. Yeah, it is. Diary of CEO, Stephen Bartlett. It's a great podcast. I love it. You get some good guests, from Dragon's Den for us in the UK. And he interviewed Moyes, I think it must have been just after Christmas or just before Christmas, before they reconvened, and talks a lot about Man United and stuff, but does all well about West Ham. So if you've got some time, worth watching that. Some of the signs we must be scratching our heads, wondering what's going on. Yep, agreed. Stephen's in the chat. Pete's in the chat. Was anyone really surprised we lost? I was surprised we didn't get nothing out of the game, to be honest. Scott's, hello. Webley, Terry. Oh, loads of people. Steve's in the chat. The board has bankrolled the signings over the summer. There's a disconnect between the manager and the players. The board gave Moyes the money. Afternoon, Artel. Just gets worse with his admissions. The end. Oh, Paul's in the chat. I didn't Paul be in here. Oh, Paul, hope you well, my son. Boycott the club. Okay. I've heard Moyes is making a speech on Saturday, which I don't see. I think a lot of that is. I think a lot of that. He probably is making a speech, but I don't think that if that's that's not. I can't see that being a valid reason. I don't know. We don't know what the fact is, Pete. We don't know. Shaw don't know. X don't know. No West Ham channel knows. No West Ham. And the only people who know are Sullivan and Brady and Kaczynski. That's it in terms of there. And unfortunately, those three people are not going to tell you what's going to happen. When there was reports that, there was the board meeting, there wasn't a board meeting, and that's just conjecture when they're saying there's no replacements lined up, but then yesterday was about 8 replacements being lined up. No one knows. No one knows. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what I find really, that's why for me, it's like I could sit here and talk about David Moyes for an hour. You could do, but actually, by all accounts, he's going to be the manager for the Everton game. So for me, as a fan, my perspective, no one else, my perspective, it's business as usual, and then see what happens after the game on Saturday. At 3 o'clock, I'll be there. Well, I won't be. I'll be there bloody 4 hours beforehand, but I'll be there supporting the fans, supporting the team, supporting the manager, and then afterwards, what happens. If the manager is then changed, then fair enough, and then I support that manager. If it's Sean Dyche, if it's Benitez, if it's Nuno Gomez, Nuno Santos, not Nuno Gomez, they get my full support. And actually, I think something new needs to happen, whether it is a new injection, a new signing, or something. We need some sort of bounce. Alf does his grumble, which will be out tonight, about a new pair of eyes. And I think that's a really interesting take. But everyone has their own take, and I think, and what I don't like when people get called out, oh, you're... Blah, 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 blah. I'm not. I have a different opinion to you, and because I disagree with it, people get funny. But in the same way that you've got an opinion, and I disagree with that, but I understand it. And that's what we try and do. Gonzo was fuming, was he? Matt, there's probably hundreds of these stories. But he's just come out and said it. I couldn't believe he said the name, to be honest. How can players be motivated in a negative style of football if you can play 10 proper... Then if he had 10 proper defenders, they would be motivated. True. And if he had his centre-back partnership as well that he wanted as well. I bet you dread coming on here at the moment, Russ. Mate, I like it because actually, to be honest, it means there's a lot of people talking, and actually makes my job a lot easier than having to come up with ideas and talk about stuff, because I'll just go for the comments and agree or disagree. Moyes was a goal pick for manager. Why does he have to admit it? Let's wound up the West Ham fans. Why does he have to admit it? I think the timing of the release of this podcast is not West Ham's job. That was Stephen. And Stephen is a social media guru, you may call him. And he's done it at the optimal time. He knows. He's had that in the can for like 6 weeks, maybe. The club have had to sign it off anyway, because they would have to, because he's a current employee. So I reckon he's had 6 to 8 weeks, and he's picked the optimal time when the fan base is literally at the end of its tether. Just to put that's what he's done. That's what he's done, and it's got a shitload of views. We need bounce back ability. If the manager goes after everything, that gives the players 7 days to sell and buy. Yeah, very true. I can't support a failure whose failure are dragging us and our side down. But Ralph, look, okay, all right, yeah, I understand. And actually, when you look at some of the, we'll come to Garina's got a really good point as well. We'll look at. I mean, I love my stats, and I've got my stats. They're not good reading, I'll be honest, but we've done it before. We've lost before. We've been relegated before. I watched the lowlights and not highlights, very good. And I thought what's going on. Redknapp let a few classy players slip through the net and signed his fair share of dross. Shudders slightly at the memories. Shevchenko, Marcelo Salas. People talk about bloody Ray Houghton never made it at West Ham. You know what I mean? Annoyed to hear turned down, thought he wasn't good enough. Nothing will change until the Spiv sells and Brady is gone, says Phil. Afternoon, Luke, hope you're well. People, is it me or is Russ dropping in and out? Am I dropping in and out? I do apologise if I am. Let me have a quick check. Let's check my internet. If I am, I do apologise. It has been a bit funny today. We seem to be okay, but anyway. Luke, I'm always full of it. Thought it was my data messing up. Okay, well, if I'm dropping in and out, I do apologise. But we'll try and carry on. Right, let's get the ratings out of the way. Okay? Okay, let's get the ratings out of the way before my internet just gives up. Okay, I do apologise. What I'm going to try and do is take everything else out, and hopefully that will work. Let's just get rid of everything. Let's close it all down, and hopefully the old Tinsnet will work. Yeah, we'll do that, shall we, Russ? Yeah, let's do that. Right, okie dokie. Let's start, as we always do, with evening, Alan. Hope you're well. We can't lose Everton. We need to stick the boot in the Lampard. He loves it that we always. Yeah, Tony does. Right, so what we do is we go for the ratings. You disagree with what I have to say. That's it, simple. So let's start with Fabianski. Let me bring up my notes for Mr. Fabianski, because I actually do write notes. People might not believe it, but I do actually write notes. Let me just quickly bring that up in my thing. It's all a bit hectic today, as you can imagine. Obviously, Anton put out today a story about Moffey and Danjuma as well. Could they be the next Kits and Hartson? Maybe, but Danjuma looks like he's probably going to go to not West Ham, Bournemouth. We were linked with the other guy from Lorente, but it looks like Bournemouth put a £20 million bid for him soon, so I don't think we're going to get him. Right, need to drop Moyes out. What happens to the board to get rid of what needs to happen for the board to get boycott? Mass protests. I don't agree with protests. Webley, if we're at Everton and move out the bottom three, the club might get a bit more attractive when shopping for a new manager. Agreed. Neil's in the chat. Nice see you, Neil. Always 11-10. Fair play to your son. Fabianski needs to be benched. We can't afford to do an Everton outside. That was toxic. I agree. I agree. You see that Everton thing, and you just that's not gonna for me. That ain't gonna attract new players. That ain't gonna attract a new manager. You know what I mean? I understand that what they were doing, but unfortunately, the only people who make decisions aren't us, innit? Anyway, Fabianski, let's have a look. Obviously, no rest for him at the weekend. He played the Brentford game, he played this game, which is really weird, but apparently it's because Areola had a hip injury for the Brentford game. So anyway, it's his 19th consecutive league start this season. First half didn't have much to do, really. Second half, Podensky, people are going to say, but he's Podence's goal was avoidable. I don't really think. I think you're splitting hairs, to be honest. But he was hardly tested, really. Good save at the end against Adama Traore, but that was it. That was it, really. The whole game was just weird. It was two teams very nervous, two teams. Fabianski 5, 4, 5, needs to be benched. Everyone gets a 4, Moyes gets a -3, 5. Randolph would have been in goal by then. Leaky Fabianski, easiest ratings of all time. Agad 6, Bowen 4, and everyone else a 5. Leaky Fabianski. I also gave Fabianski a 5. Let's move on like Donkey Kong. Let's talk about Vladimir Sufa. I'm going to rattle through these because you guys want to talk about other stuff. One of 3 players to come into the starting side, having missed Saturday the previous week against Brentford. I thought he struggled early on with Angelo Bonner, particularly on the counter attack. The whole lineup was a bit strange with Zuma on the bench and Skamaka on the bench and not starting. I never really got my head around that. Obviously, someone mentioned again covering 2. I think sometimes he was covering 3 positions, to be honest. He had he almost scored, didn't he? Wow, could you imagine? But that was really it. Again, not much happened. Neil, a 4 for Bowen is very generous, maybe a -8. Played 4 30-year-olds by Souček. We've done that. We've done a piece long time ago, Dave. I think when we played Brighton under Potter, and I went through the percentages of the first 11 Premier League match, the Premier League first 11, and someone like Cresswell was like 9. Everyone was like 90%. So it's not surprising. The longer we keep Fab, the more difficult it is to get Areola in. Well, tradition at the moment, Kev. You'd imagine he'd probably be back in for the Derby game, and then if we win, then the next FA Cup round, or if not, it wouldn't be till March with the next round of the conference. At least tired, so 5. We need to drop Bowen. 4, 4, 4 needs a crossing practice. I think they all do. Steve 4, not good scores. I also gave Vladimir Sufal a 5, so I was in similar territory with Alan. Let's go and talk about Naya for Gerd. Kept his place in the sides. We played 3 at the back against Brentford, went back to the 4-2-3-1. We knew he would. He's Moyes' number 1 choice last summer. And quite unusually, when we've had no left back, centre backs, last season, we played with 2 yesterday on Saturday, which is a bit bizarre. Found himself playing, as the one on the right. He defended quite. He's a class defender. He is. His turn of pace is always the thing that I really like. As I said, people said he covered Cresswell, probably covered Ogbonna as well. A clinical foul he did in the second half, but not much else to fault him, really, I don't think. Again, was great. 8. Age injury prone was always going to struggle this season. Sharky's game of 5. Harsh. Someone should take the captain's armband and give it to Aged. He's going, and that's not good for the players. I understand that, Ralph. I understand that thought. I don't agree with it. I'll be honest, I don't agree with it, but I understand what you're trying to say in the fact that if this guy's leaving, why are we bothering listening to him? But Deck hasn't played like a player who's leaving. And I know he is going to go. I'm not saying he's not going to go, because he will go at some time. But I don't see the players not listening to him. I don't think it's a case of him I think it's an age thing and experience. This is being a captain of a side down the bottom. Someone like Mark wouldn't have a problem, because he's used to that type of thing and he's got experience. It's a learning curve for Deck to be a captain of a faltering side, so to speak, or one that's faltering in the league and in the relegation. But that's to me that's the issue. But no, I know what you mean. 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. 9 of the players that started the same have been failing to perform since. Phil, I did the stats, so I'll try and dig them up again. You know, it was looking at the 11 and under Moyes' tenure, and yeah, it was, you know, the players were playing like the likes of Fabianski played like 90% of the Premier League games and stuff like that. Man of match had to cover Oggy a lot and was out of position. After them all, our best buy of the season, and he looks the goods. He does. Anyone rating low is allowed to, but they're getting their anger influence in reality. He's class. The light and the team after Benny. 4-2 doesn't work. I agree. 7, 21, not 22. Yeah, everyone has a right to be angry after watching. No, totally right, Matt. You totally do. But in the same way, I've got a right to not be angry. Or not angry, I'm disappointed, but I've got a right to counterbalance. You know, just because if everyone's saying the same, it'll be a boring place. Fair on Russ, ref. Dex being captain, yeah, exactly. I don't think. I mean, look, okay. I gave Aged a 6. He wasn't my man of the match. Declan Rice was my man of the match, and he continues. You know, there's no denying the fact that he is still playing for that shirt. We asked players to play for the badge. Declan Rice does play for the badge, and I think as a captain, yeah, on the pitch, but it's a different battle. And I think the trouble is, we know from experience, listening to players when they talk about when they turn up to West Ham. Mark Noble's on the on the WhatsApp group and he's doing it. We had so many new players with so much, and he was such a big part of West Ham's playing staff out as well. There's a lot. It was just too much transition. Too much transition, in my opinion. Oggy. Oi. Did you know we have crossed the barrier 400 times in Premier? And doesn't surprise me at all. I think we should get rid of Rice in January, replace him, make a Gare captain. Sure, Rice wants out anyway. Get rid of Rice in January. That would be nailing it. But as your opinion, Cyril had to cover Oggy. He certainly did. Obviously played alongside Aged, part of the back line. As we said before, 4 out of the 5 are over 30 years old, 30 or over. He just looks slow. He just looks slow. And his left-hand side partnership with Cress lacked any sort of serious conviction at times. He's great. His role, Zuma must still be really bloody injured if he's playing instead of Zuma. Do you know what I mean? And I sort of understand with the whole thing with Dawson, in that if they've, because we had do you remember that gentleman's agreement we had when we sold Snoddy to West Brom? And I sort of understand that, but for me, it's like you're professionals do a job. But in the same way, if you're going to a rival and your job, you're going gardening leave. And all it takes is him to make a mistake against Wolves, and everyone would have said, "Oh, it's because he's going and corruption." And if he played really well, Wolves would be in a worse position. So he turns up at day one. So I understand that. Oggy loved him. He ain't Premiership level. 5, tried hard. We crossed the ball when in the boxing. D 4 legs gone. 5, 4. I think our problem is the players that know Moyes' favourite. I think the trouble is Moyes doesn't really know he's favourite 11 with the new signings. I still don't think he does. I don't think he's had a chance. I'm not sticking up for him in this respect, but looking back, the players he's brought in, he hadn't had a chance with Aguerre's injury, and then Zuma gets injured. That's his centre back partnership that he's wanted, and he hasn't had it. Everton, we'll have it. That's all I'm saying. He's not slow. He looks old now. Yeah, you're totally right. He'll be gone at the end of the summer anyway. I gave him a 5 as well. Let's move on. Let's talk about Cresswell. So I'm rattling through these today. Obviously, he hasn't started the last couple of games, which I thought maybe that's it. He's done, and he's not going to start. And I think I put a back 3 and put Emerson right wing back. But no, he was recalled to the back 4. I think he had trouble defending down their side. Again, anyone we know with Cress now, it's pace. Anyone with pace, it's done with him, unfortunately. And yeah, had the chance to be a little bit creative, but lacked his little quality. We're not even using him for dead ball situations, it seems now at the moment. It's Bowen and Rice. And Cresswell had like the most assists, like one of the most assists last year. And just do you know, I was about to say the magic's gone. I was about to say the magic man with the magic hat's gone. 4 more egg and cress sandwich, 3 cress, 3. The magic is gone. Another rebuild in the summer. Yeah, you're right. We'll talk about that later in the week. Any manager comes in, a new squad. I couldn't give any new contracts. I'd let them all leave and rebuild again. I think for the 8 we probably would. Although I'll be surprised. Fabianski's 1 + 1 in it. And Cress has agreed to an extension, hasn't he? So, but yeah, I know what you mean. Only seen highlights. I can't comment on ratings. Another one passes prime, I'm afraid. I'm sorry, he must go. 7-2 should never play in the Premier League. Great player for a long time, but someone trying to cover for him is distracting from their game. I agree. I gave Mr. Aaron Cresswell a 5. Generous 5. Let's move on. Let's talk about Declan Rice. Obviously, captain. 20 years his birthday as well. It's not a great birthday present. Continuing that sort of new look partnership with Paqueta. It is taking time, but I can see, things look at, I don't know. I'm going to say it and people go, oh, you're more, If I'm looking at any positives, that midfield is looking better. It's looking more progressive than it was if you played just Souček and Rice. That's got to be something. Moved the ball well, as always, defends on the front foot. We do look more solid with him playing just as a defender, in front of the back 4. It's the role he's going to be playing at Man United, Man City, or United, or Liverpool, or Chelsea, or wherever he goes to. He ain't going to be playing a box-to-box midfielder. That's not what he's going to be brought in for. He's going to be brought in to do exactly what he does for England and just sit in front of the back 4 and then shoot balls across, which is what he can do, and bring it forward he needs to. A couple of shots. West Ham are trying to throw everything at the kitchen sink towards the end to get a leveller. But he, and people say, we've had comments near, get rid of, make him not the captain. I think if you want anyone to epitomise what we want, it's Declan Rice. Regardless of wherever he's going, regardless of his age, he puts a shift in every game. I can't think of one game where I thought he ain't tried his bloody hardest. He might not have the aptitude, the application might not have been there. Like when he started to do loads of shooting the other day, we're like, why are you shooting? But the effort's there. And that's what we want. That's what we're going to have to build. The next night, this is now for me, and I'll talk about sort of the next 19 games because I did some stats, as you'll be happy. The next 19 games, it's like a new season. It has to be. And we'll go through some stuff in a bit. 666. Andy's in the chat. Hey, mate, how are you? My favourite critic. You and Andy. 7-7. Late to party. We're all well. We're okay, mate. We're all got our health. That's the main thing. 6-5. Let him go to get Breeze decent money in. He shouldn't be captain, says GP. You see, interesting. Who would you be your captain? Probably again. I'd say probably you'd suggest. We look solid. No, I didn't say we looked solid. We looked better than we have done. We'll only be a bit part of the top teams. No, I don't think he will, Michael. I don't think he will be. He will go in as... So if he went to like a City, he'll go in as alongside Rodri, I think. If it's Chelsea, he'd be a starter as well, wouldn't he? We should play a blinder and loan him out. Yeah, could you imagine? Finally going 2-0 down, crazy fog, and we need a draw to stay up. Sounds good. Good on the pitch, pathetic interviews. We can't blame him for being in. Deck's still trying his heart out and gives his all. Totally agree. He's playing with no faith in Moyes, gives all at all times. He certainly does. Made himself look silly kissing badge at Southampton when he knew he was going. You're not going yet. What do you mean, kissing his badge at Southampton? I don't understand that, Pete. Just give me a little bit more, and then we can talk about it. Rusty B gave him a 6 man of match, my man of the match, on the West Ham side. Let's talk about his midfield partner, Lucas Paqueta. I think first half he was our best player. Really? No, I don't. See, GP, I understand why. Well, actually, I don't really understand why, but it's your opinion. I respect that. But he's so out of form, you know. And for me, the captain should be someone in the middle, not necessarily on the wing. It should be a middle centre back or central midfielder. I don't like goalkeepers being captain. I mean, look at Hugo Lloris yesterday. We can all laugh at Hugh at Tottenham, but yeah. All right, fair enough. At least it's your opinion. I respect it, but I don't agree with it. There we go. Paqueta, I thought he was the best player. First half, moved the ball well, put a couple of crosses, but again, no one was in there. Second half, tried to do a bit more carrying rather than moving it about. Again, tried to throw everything at the kitchen sink, but it's that last touch of quality, and it's just so annoying. Just so annoying because he's taken him a long time to adjust. And every game, but the games are running out now. The games are running out. Let's see what we got. 6, some worldy tricks and passes. After he scored, he kissed the badge. Well, Deck has become a fan since joining West Ham as a kid. So, understand that. 6, give the armband to Benny. 6, more Patland than Patman. Under 18s, another win, 5-2 indeed. Wrong signing with silly money. Would give Bowen a place on the sub bench. Me too, actually. 6, flying over to the Everton game. Is there somewhere you meet before the game? Be nice to say hello. Remember, before the game, unless you're there 4 hours early, mate, I ain't going to be there. But go to the supporters club. The supporters club is by, it's next to the big you can contact them by Facebook. They might be able to sort you out of a ticket as you're flying over. But that's why I suggest you go, mate. Russ, would you take Lampard if Moyes does his No. I don't think Lampard's the right person for what we need at the moment. At all. Doesn't matter what anyone thinks. The likelihood is if there's a change in manager after the Everton game, we've got 19 games. We will have 18 games to keep us up. In reality, we would need to win at least half of them to stay up. So you need someone who's going to come in and just tighten everything up and counter-attack football, back to basics. It's going to be boring, and I don't think expansive football where we might concede 1 but score 3, I don't think that's going to be the name of the game. I may be proved wrong. That's only my opinion. But I don't think you'll see a progressive manager come in. I think you'll get a short-term manager, and it would be the likes of a Benitez, a Sean Dyche. It will be, or maybe someone like Nuno, or what's the other one? There's 4. Dyche, Benitez, Nuno. There was another name that was being linked. But that's, I think, a firefighter, as we say. That's what's needed. You need someone to put a rocket up their arse. And maybe sometimes after a while, when you hear something so often that sometimes you tune out. Maybe some players have tuned out to Moyes. I don't know. I don't know. We're not there, are we? So we can only speculate. But it's something hasn't worked where, and there isn't no plan. There's no plan B, despite having all these good players. I think it's too many players coming in at once. Personally, I would have liked some coming in January last season. If you had like 3 in January and 5 in the summer, there'd have been a lesser transition period. That's my fault. Must be pulling his hair out. Yeah, exactly. He bought too many players at the same time, a minimum of 5. Exactly what I said, Matt. Exactly what I said. 4 nows for captain. Yeah, fair play. 6, 7, 5. Paqueta looking better with Dex. Worst thing is getting involved with the Essex Z celebrity crowd. You don't know football or good players if you slander Paqueta. I agree. is our best player. Potter will be available soon, but when soon? I'd take him, but yeah. Would you take Carrick with Pearce to help him? He's doing some great stuff. Great stuff at Middlesbrough. Would Stuart Pearce come back? I don't think he would. I'd take Potter. I would. I would. Van Nistelrooy. Now, I don't think it was you, Aldi, or Andy, or someone like that, that said, "Oh, you missed out on that Van Nistelrooy." He's not going to come to West Ham from PSV. He's doing all right at the moment. He'll be. If he won't, in terms of like next week, he wouldn't. He's going to keep an eye out for the Man United job or something like that, isn't he? He's doing a great job at PSV. We're linked to one of their players, actually, Nooney, who we'll talk about at Hammer's Headlines today, so check that out. The next manager will be Moyes 2.0. I'd take Russ, thank you. Many wouldn't. Isn't coming back. It's all about results, not good. Totally right, Pete. And the ironic thing is, the type of person and that's what they were saying, the type of person you would bring in would be someone like Moyes. So it's almost like you're going to get one person. We can't counter-attack with the OAPs. No, indeed. But, we have to spend loads of money on Moffat. Another old has been to paper over the cracks, another 2-3 years. Same old. Hammerhead, it's never been any different. I was thinking about it the other day. The last time we went, as a club, for a progressive manager, I wouldn't say Bilic was a progressive manager. For me, it's going to be Zola. For that, the Zola appointment was totally left field. All about the youth team, brought in loads of kids, and it worked for a little bit and then failed. And then it's like, well, okay, let's get back to type. Let's bring in Avram Grant. Let's bring in Kirbishley. Let's bring in these firefighters. He's sort of, it has been some of them, yeah, but we've never really had that. Maybe I'll take Dyche at the end of the season and reevaluate. I think that's what's going to happen. What's your opinion? Jose Mourinho having interest in a return to Prem. I think he would, if anywhere, he would go to Newcastle if they ever got rid of Howe, which they won't do. He did. To be honest, 6 months he'd come in, smack a few people, tell everyone what's what. That's what I think you need. That's what I think we need. Didn't Schumacher train with Van Nistelrooy? He did actually when he was at. You're right, Hammerhead. You're right. I rate Dyche. Anyway, we'll get through the things in a minute. Paqueta I gave a 6.2. Souček, I'm going to just zoom through these. Souček gave a 5. Bowen gave a 6. Although I'll probably give a 5. Fornals I gave a 6. Antonio gave a 5. Ben Rama I gave a 6. Schumacher I gave a 6. Done. All right. Done, because actually I think we've got a really nice debate here, and I'm gonna sometimes it doesn't work. It's not worth it. Is it worth getting Big Sam back in? I'll tell you what, I've seen stranger things happen at sea. From being in Europe to find relegation, not good enough. Paqueta needs to go. The Premier's not for him. I don't agree, Cloud, but I understand why. But I don't agree. Was well loved. Do you know what? I'll say it. I listened to a lot of his interviews. I think he's a very intelligent man. I think he could do a job, but so could. We did the whole thing last week. We looked at like Poch and Tuchel, and I know that there was a report I was reading. They would love Poch or Tuchel. They're not coming to us. Let's be honest. We're not a Champions League. We're not exciting. Would you come to us with the way we are? People look on Twitter. They'll see how toxic the fan base is at the moment. Do you think they'll do that? No. Same way they wouldn't go to Everton. Someone said, Brendan Rodgers, but I don't think Brendan Rodgers would be a great show. You have to wait for Leicester to get rid of him first. I think there's two appointments. There's one now, and then there's one in the summer. And whether the one in the summer becomes the one now is a different matter. But I think it's almost like we've got to treat these next 19 games as a mini-season. It seems to me that when Cornet got injured, the confidence in the team just fell like a stone. Indeed, it would be a shock if he won on Saturdays. Russ, is Moyes not doing exactly what you described as our way to go? It is, but it's not working, is it? And to be honest, Moyes has done that thing for the last 2.5 years. Try to keep a tight defence, nick a goal. But the thing is, we're not even scoring the goal. That's the thing. And we're losing. And as I said, I haven't looked at the stats, but in terms of how many games we've lost 1-0 or by one goal, that's the thing. And usually we scored the goal, but we're not. And I don't know why. I don't think reading between the lines on the chat, we are on the chat. We are happy with Moyes said. Yeah, exactly. Sad news about Lanzini retiring. Thanks for breaking the news just now. What Lanzini, when did I do that? Anyway, I don't know if I did that. I heard about, Domenico Tedesco, he former Shakhtar, he was RB Leipzig as well, I believe. He was sacked a while ago. It could be, again, a young progressive manager. He had Tilo Kehrer at Schalke, played him in the right of a back three, very progressive. And again, Andy, go back and check out this thing. We went through all of them. Went through him as well, amongst others. I mean, it's like Carlos Corbero, and did that like favoured formations, pros and cons, things like that. Right. Dyche's been touted to be a special man, given a bigger budget. That's what he said. Right, let's go through something more. His comments. Only manager from the shortlist that may turn into somewhat progressive. In fact, he's not that old. I totally agree. Trigger from Only Fools reminds me of Moyes. Why is a Premier not for if there are many slower than stupid? I don't. Well, it's not. Andy, it's his opinion. And so you have a very distinct opinion on my views, and I appreciate them. Is Skamaka another Haller? I don't think he is. Players are 18 months older than past it. What's your opinion on Moyes' views about fans? I mean, yeah, again, he did say, if they're... But then I think most fans will support the side at 3 o'clock on a Saturday. So I understand what things... Everything's now going to be... Everything that anyone says is going to be twisted by everyone. And it is true. And so, for me, if I've got to be careful what I say. Because people go, because I'll get 20 million comments and people saying, "Oh, you're deluded." I'm trying to give a balanced opinion from my perspective, in the same way that you can go and listen to another. Go on Twitter and see, people can talk about whatever they want to talk about. For me, I think any fan will be behind the team at 3 o'clock, and I know people go, people say, "Oh, if we lose, Moyes goes." Well, that may well happen, but we don't know until. But for me, I'm a West Ham fan. I've seen us being relegated. I've seen us being promoted. I've seen us gone through shit. I've seen the bond scheme. I've seen us move grounds. I've seen the Burnley protests. I've seen, so I've seen it, same as a lot of you have as well. So, but I know on a Saturday I'm still going to go and watch the game. So I'll still go and I'll still go and watch the game. And I still support the team. I still wear my shirt, and I still, because that's what I've always been doing for the last 40 years. So I think the shake-up we could use in players could be a huge improvement. Yeah, I agree. Seems to be in denial. It seems that his ego is big. He's so big that he won't listen to anyone. I understand that what you're trying to say, Al, but like if you listen to that, it's quite interesting that Stephen Bartlett podcast. I'm pretty sure there's a hint of him. I mean, he's been around he's managed over 1,000 games. He's no spring chicken. He knows how it all works. It's probably not fair to judge any of the new signings and the system set up right. Remember when they said about Pep indeed. Everyone, they certainly are, Peter. Haller is one of the best strikers around at the moment. I wouldn't mind Scala being like, yeah, I totally agree. I like Russ's opinions. I hate Anton's more. Managers that are backed by the fans go further. Right, anything else? Yeah, let's go for some stats quickly, because I think this is quite interesting. Don't forget, right? We talk about this. I'm just putting things in context, because the way I read some things, it's like the end of the world, and it's like we've been here before. Here we go. Here you are not over 30. I wish. Don't forget this team. We went down with this team. With David James, England international David James, future international Glenn Johnson, Trevor Zingler, Joe Cole, Carrick, Di Canio, Canute, Defoe. We went down with that side in 2002-03 season. Anything's possible. Anything is possible. When you look at the stats, they don't make good reading. So this is... So obviously we're at the halfway stage. And I mentioned this yesterday when we did the live stream. At the halfway stage, for the last 10 years I've just done, these were the teams who were in the bottom three. Now, I granted people go, oh, well, you got goal differences. The fact is we're on points, we're bottom, but on goal difference, we're third. And it is quite tight, granted. But statistically speaking, these are the teams that are in the bottom three when at the halfway stage. These are the teams that went down. So you can see, with the exception of the 12-13 season, 2021 season, not all three went down, but a lot did. A lot did. And so that's why there has to be some sort of step change needed for these next 19 games. If you look at the relegation statistics, 80% of the clubs who are 18th at the halfway stage went down. Sorry, 60%. If it was 19th and 20th positions, it's 70%. 70% of the clubs in that position went down. So on average, it's 66%. So 66%. So you got 2/3 of a chance that we're going to be going down we can be going down at the halfway stage. Now there are some exceptions. I think Fulham, us as well in us back in was it 13, 14. And I think it was Fulham went from 7. Was it in 2015? When it Fulham? It was on with Fulham. I think it was 2013, 14. They ended up something like. No, it wasn't. It was one of them. So yeah, it's not looking good, is it? It's not looking good. But as I said, we're West Ham. Anything could happen. Anything could happen in the next 24 hours, as the famous TV show would always say. But that's what could happen. That's the thing we're looking at now. The fact is we're in this situation now. We're halfway through. We're statistically more likely to go down than we are staying up, and those statistics get worse and worse every game that goes along, and they have been doing since the beginning of the season. And I'm under no, and I'm no delusion at all about the predicament we're in at all, lads. We are royally kaput. That 20. That team as an 11 was a bloody strong side. In terms of where they were. Someone. I think it was on Clout and Booze or something. They were talking about the parallels to this side where we finished 7th, and then they made Joe Cole captain and we went down. And last year we finished 7th and made Declan Rice captain and we're gonna potentially in a precarious position. So anyway, perhaps the Skammarket should have stayed after training to practice scoring. What is the fact? I was reading about apparently Everton are looking at Antonio as well. Chelsea, we've turned down Chelsea. Everton are apparently interested. Why does no one watch Antonio play? Has no one watched him play this season? Or everyone just looked at his stats from the last 2 seasons? I'd get him off of you and get rid of Antonio, wouldn't you? Bookies have higher odds and 7-0 clubs to go down. I don't see it. Very concerned. I do think a new manager using unused players and dropping certain peaks will help. Halfway stage, glass half full. Well, it's not. Let's be honest. How do you look at the stats? Is it half full? Anton and Russ are on the Titanic. We all are. Russ, those stats are frightening. That's why I try and I try and give a balanced opinion. I do try, and for something like that, it's worth looking at. I know Moyes came out and said, battling for Europe and da-da-da. We are not. We are in a relegation dogfight, and those statistics show that if we continue in this trajectory, that percentage, that 66% percentage average, is going to get worse and worse if we're still in that bottom 3. Worse and worse. And that just the last 10 years, I could have gone back since the beginning of the Premier League. But to be honest, I think it just exemplified the point what we're trying to say. Glass has shattered. If Moyes does end up pulling this off, getting us back to the table, working closer today, fingers crossed we don't get relegated, we need to start getting some wins. Well, what are we on? 15 points now? If you want, say 38 is usually sort of 38 to 40 points. Well, 40 points is the famous one. We did go down 42 points. I don't think that's going to be the case this season. So based on that, 15, say 40, so we need 25 points from 19 games. So, you're looking at 8 wins. 8 wins. Including playing like Chelsea, Newcastle twice, we need 8 wins. Heard Chelsea have a 30-minute wonder who they are loaning or selling. Well, I imagine there's going to be a lot of churn coming up soon. Those stats say we have one in. They do. If ask our fault, we've still got a third. We've still got a third chance for staying up. But yeah. Get relegated, bring in Deitch to get us promoted and then reevaluate. Matt, bring him in now in the hope we can say us up. Stats. Both times we relegated, we start with the manager. Nigel did the thing, yeah. Apparently, Nigel said, a lot of the time it has happened. We start the manager. but not just in the Premier League. Don't forget, when we got relegated with John Law, we kept him and he took us back up, albeit not in the Premier League. But we have had both times we've been relegated from the Premier League. We stuck with the manager. Stuck with the manager until then got sacked. Yeah, so like Big Sam came in. Yeah, I understand what you mean. Yeah, totally. We didn't get rid of this manager at the right time, and yeah. But as I said, there's been situations where a manager's taken us down, he stayed with the club and he's taking it back up again. There are just not enough potentially 3 points to get 45. It doesn't look good. Well, not 40 points would do us. Do swap Antonio for Gordon. Well, if you listen to those Everton lot, they were slating Anthony Gordon. It's like, if I was a player looking to go to Everton, and then the first thing I do is go on Twitter and I just see video of them like outside the ground, with the directors like death threats and all that type of stuff. And would you want to go? I think people think head and heart, and it's sometimes the heart takes over, and it's like, if I was an Everton fan, I'll be like, and I won't want to, and I'll be like, what are you doing? Now we look like a bunch of idiots. Now we've been relegating 41, we need 42 for survival. No, we went down on 42 points, didn't we? Famously that season. But I don't think we'd need that this season, looking at the table. We can't afford to go down. We'll lose too many players. Well, I think 8 already going already. And then say Deck would go. And then maybe, so best time I had was 85, 86. It was. And didn't we almost go down the season before? The season after that? I think so. Moyes, he does. We'll talk about that at Hammer's headlines. Russ, perhaps Antonio's wanted because they believe training. No, Antonio's not. No, Antonio's not good anymore. His legs are gone, isn't he? He can't. We've seen him. We know. He's been. He was nowhere near the goal scoring charts at all. Maybe 2.5 seasons ago. Then he had a couple of 10-goal seasons. He's been gashed this season. His legs are gone, mate. Legs are gone. Gio were pretty angry, and they're usually calm, handsome guys too. There we go. Why don't we try the kid? Give Antonio a rest. I totally agree. We need 8 wins from 19 games at least, I reckon. Be surprised if we get 28 points. And running against Toffees is freaking tough. Magpies, Spuds. Spuds is always an up in the air game, isn't it? He's always an up in the air against Spurs. Magpies, are we playing them twice, aren't we? Which one of the reporters had the gonads to say to Moyes, are we in a relegation battle? We ain't getting 38 points in the rest of the season, Russ. I think we'll get 30. What about Mourinho? I'll take him, mate, wouldn't you? I think for what we need to do, I think something needs to change. There needs to be something, whether it's a new signing coming in, there needs to be something to get something moving. I think that's fair enough. New signing, a new face, new coach coming in or whatever. If it's decided, that a new manager comes in, then yeah, that's what's needed. You know what I mean? Has anyone else listened to? Yeah, definitely. It's very good. What about Goncheski? Sorry about the spelling. Paul's doing a great job with the women. I mean, look, we've got a situation now. We've got loads of ex-players in the setup. You've got Kenny Brown setting up the academy in charge. You've got Mike Robson of the 21s. You've got Potsy. You've got Kevin Keane, who are 18s. They've won 12 in 12. You've got Zavon. You've got Carlton Cole. You've got Mark as director of football now. You've got Paul Konchesky, Jimmy Walker in the women's setup. You've got loads. For the sake of his career, he needs to drop down the division. I totally agree. Ross Stewart looks a decent striker indeed. Right, bringing Callum Marshall and Ollie Scars into the first team. Plenty of young lads doing well. I said Hammer's headlines, another youngster we've spoken about Scottish whiz kid we're looking at. 4 million quid apparently. Define gash. Not very good. Can see Forest, Villa, Southampton beating us after Newcastle, Spurs, Chelsea games. Who appointed all those managers for our club? No, he wouldn't have done. No. No, he wouldn't have done. That'd have been done by the board, I think. It wouldn't be done by Moyes. Trossard, yeah, apparently he's been chucked out of training in Brighton. Would you, there's obviously been some sort of discussion there, some sort of issue there. But yeah, very, very strange at the moment. Lots of strange stuff going on at the moment. It's the transfer window as well. Lots of agents trying to move people. He did. He didn't sign him. He was offered him. He said he wasn't. The scout presented Alaves as someone we could look at, and he said he didn't. he didn't sign him. He didn't want. He didn't look at him properly because he thought Antonio was doing the jobs. But mate, honestly, Victor, the trouble is, I think that's come out of everything else. There'll be thousands of those if onlys, not just at West Ham, but all over the place as well. Unfortunately, that one's come out with everything else. That's why Stephen Bartlett is a very clever social media person, because he puts it out just at the right time. Constantly playing fabs, I agree. Won't use youth. We're in such a sorry state, won't use them. I agree. How the heck are the youth not looking gash? How the heck are not looking gash? How the heck are the youth? We need their confidence. I didn't say they gash at all. The youth are doing fantastically. They're doing brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. We bad news at West Ham. I don't want to troublemaker Trossard. Well, that would obviously fail the Moyes MOT test, surely, wouldn't it? Redknapp turned down Shevchenko. He did. Marcelo Salas. And again, we talk about the same ones, Ray Houghton, Tony Adams. These guys, we could have kept them going, but they went to other clubs, got turned down. But there's going to be thousands. Get Louise Redknapp. She's not Louise Redknapp now, is she? She's divorced from Jamie. But there we go. All right, ladies and gents. Thank you very, very much for your time. As always, I appreciate all your comments. Good banter. Friendly banter. That's what we like in this channel. Friendly banter. We're all West Ham fans, aren't we, at heart? Which is why I put it as a subscriber-only chat now, because it just makes things a bit more... You don't get some random, going, you know, shit. Because actually, that would just rile even more people up. You have to become a subscriber to tell us that we're shit. Play the lads in the youth team. I think people would like to. I also heard that they're going after Strike. Well, Victor, we've said that £25 million offer has been made, apparently, for him. We'll wait and see. If the board are keen to keep Moyes, they should pull into the next meeting and tell him to start taking the opposition instead of being so defensive. Yeah, true. Zuma will be back in the side with him, so there we go. Don't think we are comfortable enough to turn down any player. Thanks us especially for not just ranting. Well, look, everyone has the right to do what they want with the show. For me, I don't fancy coming on and rant. I think we've had enough of that. So actually, I'll come on and let you guys and then just try and have some sort of But it is what it is, isn't it? Is what it is. If you like it, great. If you don't, then there's other. You can do whatever you want. At the end of the day, over half of you aren't subscribing. So if you want to subscribe, you want to chat, hit the subscribe button. I got turned down at West Ham. I'd bag at least 15 goals this season. Sorry, Russ. I'm meaning, why are the youth not looking bad? Why are youth not looking bad at first team? Don't understand that, Ali. I think I'd love to see some of the youth team, because they'll have no fear. We've got a team that are nervous at the moment. Thanks, Peter. Cheers, guys. Give it a cheeky like if you would. Be lovely, as a Happy Hamret says. Cheers. Yeah. Nice to see everybody. Nice to see you all. We're back at 5 o'clock tonight. We'll also have Alf doing a grumble. Taking a similar stance, actually, to be honest, about needing a fresh pair of eyes. And Alf is a very much a Moyes in character. So great. It was... it was really, really interesting. So anyway, keep an eye on that. Take care, everyone. Stay safe, stay warm, stay healthy. Keep the faith. Come on, you irons. Win or lose, we're always on the booze. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Ta-ta for now. Bye-bye.